We're going to work on factoring some greatest common factor problems where the problem looks harder than what you're used to. This is a really important skill in simplifying calculus problems. So we're going to build up to a problem like this. Let's start back with something that might look more familiar. Think about the most that goes into both x squared and x to the fifth. That's going to be x squared. The shortcut would be think about what the lower exponent is. So then when you write down what's left in the first term, you took out that whole thing, so it's just a 1. We need a placeholder there. And then in the second term, we divided out x squared, but remember when you divide x's with exponents, you subtract the exponents. So you have x to the 5, what you started with, minus what you took out, 2. And if you want to check it by distributing, when you multiply, you add the exponents, so that's x squared plus x to the fifth, which is what we started with. The next one, we have a 2 and an 8, so the most that goes into that is 2. 2 multiplies into both 2 and 8. And then out of x to the fifth and x to the 10th, x to the fifth goes into both terms. So we have 2 terms total. This was our greatest common factor that we took out. Now let's write what's left in both terms. The first term we took out a 2 and we took out the x to the fifth. So there's nothing left, so let's just put a 1. Minus 2 times what is 8? That's 4. X to the 10 is what we had originally, minus what we took out, 5. And it's really important that you have that 1, because if you don't, if our answer was this part, if you multiply that in, that was our second term, but we still need our first term. That's why it's important to have that 1 to hold its place. The next one looks a lot more confusing, but it's the same concept. We have 2 terms out of the 3 and the 5. There's nothing that we can divide out. There's no greatest common factor. Out of x to the 7th and x squared, we can take out x squared. And out of x plus 2 squared and x plus 2 to the 5th, we can take out x plus 2 squared. Now we can write down what's left. Oftentimes you'll see a bracket here. Brackets and parentheses mean the same thing, but sometimes it just helps keep your work more organized if you already have a bunch of parentheses in your problem. So now we're going to write down what's left in the first term. We still have the 3, we didn't take that out, or anything that would affect it. We had x to the 7th, looking at the x's, but we took out x squared, so 7 minus 2. And then we had x plus 2 squared, we took out x plus 2 squared, so there's no x plus 2's left in that first term. We can bring down the minus. We didn't take out anything that would affect the 5, so we still have the 5. We had x squared, we took out x squared, so we don't have any x's left. And if it helps you, you could write x to the 2 is what we had originally, minus 2 is what we took out. So that's x to the 0, but anything to the 0 is 1. So we're just multiplying the 5 by 1. We had x plus 2 to the 5th, but we took out 2, minus 2. So then this is our final answer.